Good morning, people. Today is March 11th, 2025. We're back to live streaming, and I am not in any trades this morning. Looking at the usual stuff, the Mag 7. Looks like we got some airlines that are in play. LUV, Southwest Airlines, up about 9.5% right now. Keep an eye on a few things here. See what we can do. We're also looking at AMD, Tesla, PLT, Apple, Mara, and of course the SPY. So just gonna be hanging out here, looking for some setups and chatting away. Testing 1 2 3, just making sure my mic is working properly and you guys can hear me. Trying to set up all my audio stuff again so everything is working smoothly. So Apple looks like it's dropping down here. Looking at, look like it wants to break the pre-market lows. This might be something that we can get into here. So Apple looks like it's dropping down here. Looks like it wants to break the pre-market lows. This might be something that we can get into here. Tomorrow looks like it's bounced off that 1320. Tesla strong today off the 222. Same with PLTR. SPY also looking to go up. So I'm not in any trades yet. Big down day yesterday, so we might have some things bounce up here. Alright, Apple's looking really weak. Gonna try for a short here on Apple. SPY is also pointing down. Today might be a chop fest kind of a day after the big move that we had yesterday across the board, so I'm not really expecting very clean moves today. So just got to keep that in mind and have my stops in place so that we don't get chopped up too much. We got a JOLTS number coming out here in about 4 minutes, so that could definitely whiplash some stocks around. So let's keep an eye on Apple short. Right now it's working, but of course way too early. Looking at the China names, PDD, BABA. Like PDD here is looking decent for a short. Yeah, I'm gonna get short PDD here as well. Let's put that up on the chart so you guys can see PDD. So I'm short PDD, I'm short Apple. Short two names here, Apple and PDD. So higher than expected JOLTS number. Looks like 7.74. Higher than expected for the JOLTS job opening. Let's see how this moves the market. We're in 2 shorts. So of course, if things go against us here, I'm going to cut these positions short and look to re-enter when there's a cleaner setup. Alright, everything's boosting up right now. SPY ripping up to the high day. Apple's staying low. It did have a little blip here, but staying low. PDD also staying low, but I'll probably cut both of these positions if they start showing really any signs of strength, because even though my stop is pretty far away, I don't want to underestimate the power of this move that this JOLTS job number may have. So far it's kind of holding in my direction, both PDD and Apple shorts, so both in the money. Alright, so I guess this job's JOLTS number really helping us out here, boosting things to the downside. Our Apple and PDD trades working out nicely. Alright, things really coming down here now. SPY looking to break this 558. Yesterday's low was 555.50 roughly. So, and the pre-market or aftermarket low yesterday on the SPY was 554.50s. So, see if this if we make a move towards the low, we can have a really extended move on both Apple and the PDD shorts that I got on. Wow, things really accelerating here to the downside. I'm going to see if we have any other opportunities here. PLTR looks like a pretty good short there. Intel. A lot of things pointing down here. Looks like there's also some tariff news from Trump putting on additional tariffs. Additional 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada. So, and of course the US JOLTS job openings for January, the actual was 7.74 million versus the estimate of 7.6. Definitely not helping the market. But it is helping our shorts. And there's the bounce. So, as we were talking about earlier, we got that little whiplash going on here in the market. And, you know, today's definitely kind of already set up to be sort of like a range day, inside day. So, I'm okay with cutting both of these positions for break even if, you know, if they come back up over my entry. So, you know, I do want to give them a little bit of room, but when I see action like this, it just indicates to me that we're sort of going to be in a chop zone today, and we're, you know, these positions don't necessarily go out to like 2R, 3R targets when I see action like this. So instead of giving it the full stop, I try to reduce my risk and try to take them off early when I notice, like, you know, when things don't feel right. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Yeah, so we see PDD bouncing here. So I'm probably going to take that one off. Like I said, I don't like the large bottoming wick on PDD or Apple. And they're approaching close to where I shorted them, so I'm gonna give it a minute here to see how things turn out. I am using 10-minute candlesticks, so plenty of time for them to form. So when I do see a wick on a 10-minute, you know, it is pretty indicative that there was a lot of buying pressure on the bottoming wick there, because it, you know, this candle took 10 minutes to form. So price definitely had a lot of time to spend in that wick. So yeah, and in the Apple short, in the PDD short, but looking to cut it here, pretty much close to break even here at this point. And not liking these bottoming wicks and all the tickers. So yeah, I'm going to take off PDD here for break even. And then Apple, we're also at break even on Apple. I came back to our entry, so I think that one also I'm going to cut. And I do not mind getting back into a trade rather than kind of, holding it and hoping that it goes back in my favor. So I'd rather just cut it and then re-enter if there's a better setup. Alright, so still hanging on to the Apple short. Still hanging on. Probably not for long, though, because the VWAP's right there. And like I said, there's no reason for me to hang on to the short if it's not working, especially with that large bottoming wick. SPY, again, moving down, so maybe that helps us out. Let's see. Looking at some other tickers to see what else we can get into here, but today's going to be a day of patience, as I suspect we may not get those clean moves today. Again, having that big day yesterday where everything moved down, big sell-off day yesterday, and of course this JOLTS number didn't help us out here. Well, initially it did help us. It pushed actually all of my position up. I think I was up 1R on both of my trades. But I'm looking for a little bit bigger targets on both Apple and PDD. And I didn't get those. So right now, though, a lot of things are just straight chop. There's no real trades on anything that I'm looking at. So Marv XC joined our live. What's up, Mark? Or Marv? What's up, Marv? All right, so still in the Apple short, sort of hanging on by a thread here on the Apple short, and yeah, any move close to that VWAP, over the VWAP, the purple line, volume weighted average price, we're going to be out of the short. Another down move on the SPY. Let's see. I mean, having that large bottoming wick on Apple here, my suspicion is that we don't go much lower. And I would be fairly surprised, actually, if we drop below 220. This might be one of those days where things are just going to whipsaw up and down, and And, you know, these are the days where I get myself into trouble in the past, where I get myself into trouble because I'm looking to short the lows or looking to long breakouts, and when things are trading in a choppy range, it just doesn't happen right. You get no follow through. You just get a little break, peekaboo, break over, and then back in the range. So, and it's kind of what's happened today, right? That's kind of what's happened today on both of my shorts that I took. PDD, we took it short, and same thing with Apple. We took PDD and Apple short. Stopped out of PDD already for break even, and looks like Apple's gonna face the same fate here. The fate of a break even trade. Yeah, I mean, this wick is not a good sign for a short, so just giving it a couple more seconds here. Like I said, any move up towards over that 223, we're gonna be out of the Apple short. And that's the plan for me right now, and I'm scanning some other tickers to see what else we can get into here. But I'm not exactly in a hurry, as I talked about, to get into trades today, because I'm expecting things to be fairly choppy today. So just have to keep that in mind if you're out there trading today. Got to keep that in mind, that things may be choppy and the market may not offer you a clean opportunity to get into some good setups, and that's okay. You know, not every day is going to be an easy day in the markets. So I do have some other tickers up on some other monitors that I'm looking at, trying to see if we have any trades on anything else. Okay, I put a stop in on the Apple trade right over that 223 mark. So really tight stop. I usually don't have stops this tight, but of course Apple already moved in our favor down to that 220. I didn't take any of my short off on the Apple short. I shorted near the low of the day, the original low of the day, around 222.80 looks like. And you know, we had to move down to 220, but my targets were below that. I wanted to get at least 2R target on this, and looks like we're about to get stopped out of Apple here, and I am all out. So basically 2 break-even trades to start off this Tuesday morning for me. 2 break-even trades, Apple and PDD, and now I am looking for other trades. Now, looking at Apple, I mean, you know, you can make an argument that this could be a long here. And, you know, I think, I mean, as far as looking at just the candlestick pattern, I think you could be pretty profitable if you took trades like this in this type of setup, where if you got a sideways move, dip down, large wick on the bottom, and then a move up through VWAP. Yeah, that's That's a solid long trade setup. However, if you look at it in the context of the big picture and you zoom out, I mean, looking at the Apple daily, I mean, let's look at the Apple daily and see what's going on in the Apple daily chart. Let's do daily. So now when you look at it, you know, quite a large drop, bounce up, drop, bounce up, and then a big drop yesterday here, and then you're kind of lingering around here. So in the context of the bigger picture, the Apple long doesn't necessarily look that great, right? Now if you were in like if you're in this part of the leg and you see that setup, I think you have a better chance of it working out. Or of course in this entire leg right here. But when things are this weak, I think you should look for reasons not to take a trade. And this is probably a reason why I wouldn't take a long here on Apple. So unless of course you got in down there in the 220s, 221, then right now you're sitting very pretty if you got in that low. If that's your trading style, right? Mean reversion, if you're buying these large high volume dips, then maybe maybe you have already exited the trade. Getting $3 on the move. But everything else still looks pretty weak, so I'm not really looking to get into any longs, to be honest. I'm okay just waiting this out and scanning some other tickers, looking for other potential trades. Alright, so Apple here consolidating near the VWAP. It has moved up while the SPY has continued to show weakness, so that'll be interesting. Tesla also showing weakness, but not really a setup. AMD looking to continue to move lower. So Mara's very choppy, wicks on both sides here. So again, nothing really to jump into for me, at least. Tesla really taking a hit here. Really moving down from 236 to 234. SPY making new lows. Interesting. PDD still weak. Tesla really taking a hit here. Looks like market wants to continue to go lower. I am scanning a bunch of other tickers right now to see if we can find some setups, but you know, nothing really jumping out at me so far. Intel broke the $20. So Intel below 20. So that was a big level. Intel. Let's put Intel up here instead of AMD. Thing for Intel. Yeah, this $20 level. Man, what a move for Intel. 2750 down to below $20. So we'll keep an eye on Intel and see. I don't see any entries right now on anything really. Alright, so we got things that are pretty much sold off and lingering around here near the lows. Let's see what happens here in the next few minutes. So Apple turning back around. PDD's also turned back down. Tesla, big rejection off that 235 area. Alright, so we're getting a, it looks like potentially a lower leg here across the board. Crypto stocks had a gap up today, like Mara coin, but since moved back down. Okay, I'm liking a trade here that I see set up, and that's going to be in the crypto area. It's going to be short here on coin. So let's take PDD off and put coin in there. And I am short coin. COIN. Alright, we're short crypto, let's see. Or I should say we're short coin, which of course coin is a part of. We're getting a move lower here now, pretty much across the board. Tesla as well. Alright, so I'm short two names here. Shorted Tesla and coin. So we got two shorts on. Again, today's sort of a expected to be a sideways chop range kind of day, inside day if you will. So I'm taking these trades with a grain of salt. So if they don't show good movement in my direction fairly quickly, I'm going to become very suspicious and I'll probably take the trades off like I did with Apple and PDD earlier, where shorted both, went in our favor, didn't get to my target, so we went and took those off break even. And you know, on a day like today, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to just take off trades if they're break even. The last thing you want to do is kind of hold on to these trades after they've already kind of made a move in your direction, and you know they come back, they're going against you. I think it's better off to just take a stop and reevaluate, especially on a day like today where you know there's going to be some chop. You know it's not going to be super clean like it was yesterday. Yesterday was a very easy day to day trade since pretty much everything followed through, right? From your initial entries, you had some very big, like 3, 4, 5 hour moves yesterday, even with wide stops. So, you know, we just can't expect that to happen every day. Unfortunately, can't always be easy. Alright, so both coin and Tesla bouncing. Not a good sign. Bouncing off these levels here. Coin's got good support here at 184. So keep an eye closely. Of course, if it goes over the VWAP, we're going to be out of this short on coin for sure. And Tesla also, we got to give it up towards that 227 area as our stop. So let's see here. Alright, so coin not looking so great. Might get stopped out of that. A break over a VWAP will be our stop on the coin short. And Tesla also bouncing off the 221 area. That might also be a stop. Tesla right at, this is previous day close here, that line. 222s. 222 is the previous day close on Tesla, and corresponds nicely to the opening range low. So, and then if you were to zoom out and look at yesterday's low was 220.18 roughly. So right now Tesla's bounced off yesterday's low. Right at 220.18s, roughly. Yeah, so, and there's also previous day's close, which is that line at 222.15. So, taking both of those into account, that can definitely be a potential bounce spot for any stock. Previous day's lows, and then of course the previous day close, PVC. So coin's bouncing up quite a bit here, and my stop is just over the VWAP, so I do like to use a wider stop, because these large caps tend to fluctuate in price quite a bit, and I found myself stopping out on trades that do work in my favor by having too tight of a stop. So I like to have a little bit of a wider stop, let the trade work, unless, like we saw earlier where, there's like a large wick going against my direction. And in that situation, I think it's when things are just obvious they're not going to work, I'd rather take them off. But yeah, it's kind of a fine line, right? When do you know it's obvious it's not going to work versus, letting it play out, giving it some room like I'm doing on coin right now. Tesla, meanwhile, is working. So we did have a little bit of a push, and now we're pushing back down, leaving the wick at the top, and that's what I like to see. Especially these are 10-minute charts, so you know, seeing a wick in your favor definitely works out. Coin close to being stopped out here. I want to see if price can break over the VWAP and hold. So far hasn't done that, so I'm gonna be patient with coin. Looks like the airline stock I was looking into this morning, LUV, Southwest Airlines, was up about 9.5% this morning, and just it's been a steady sell-off. So, but it didn't really offer any good setup to short on LUV. All right, Tesla with quite a big move here to the downside in our favor. Wow, this is interesting. It's sort of skipping down here towards that 217.50. Kind of some strange price action there. Not sure what to make of that. Coin is going to be close to getting stopped out here, coin. Well, that's a bummer. PDD is now lower. So that trade would have worked out for us if we had not had a too tight of a stop. So it's a good example of why sometimes I do like to leave on the wider stop, because a lot of times they do end up working out for you. So for example here, PDD, let's take a look. Yeah, we shorted it here, and then we stopped out somewhere here, roughly a break-even stop out, and then it kind of moved in our favor. So just goes to show you, sometimes you have to have the patience to keep the stop, and sometimes you have to take it off. So it's kind of you know, like Apple, for example, we took that off, and I think that was a good stop out here. Just kind of went sideways after. So I'm still in the short on Tesla and coin. Now, I don't like this move here on Tesla where it bounced off, and like we talked about earlier, Tesla is bouncing off the previous day lows and also previous day close. And you're also seeing a little bit of bounce up in the SPY. So I'm fine with like taking off Tesla here for roughly break even. I mean, we're just roughly near where we entered short on Tesla. So coin is gonna be the only loser here if we get stopped out of it. Tesla, I'll probably stop out of this fairly soon here if it continues to go up. Yeah, out of Tesla here for a small loss there. Didn't lose a full R, and then we are going to lose a full R here on coin. So I am stopped out of all the trades here. So now we're back to flat, and let's check to see if we see any good setups here. It's a really good bounce on coin and Tesla here. Coin that bounced off 184. Tesla bounced off that 217.50, right near the previous day close and the previous day's low. So, yeah, maybe we get a bounce here. Let's see. All right, things are looking fairly strong here. I think I'm gonna try a long here. Let's get long on Tesla. So we got a long going on Tesla here, bouncing off like we talked about the previous day's close and also the previous day's low here on Tesla. So we'll take that. And let's see, Mara also looking pretty good here. Same situation with Mara. It's bouncing off previous day's lows. Well, yesterday it had a low in the post market here of about 1291 on Mara, so that's roughly where it's bouncing off of here. Let's see what happens here. I am a little hesitant to jump into these longs because you know, the context overall doesn't look that great. So, but maybe we get a little relief bounce. Oh, just looking at the chat here, we got N.R. Jackson asking about what made you avoid the catalyst-specific names like DKS, Oracle, Dals. Predicting the macro seems a little harder to read. But I believe, and it looks like maybe his comment got cut off there. What made me avoid catalyst-specific names like DKS, Oracle, and such? Well, honestly, these were not on my radar. I actually got to the computer pretty late this morning, and didn't look at DKS. I did look at LUV this morning. It was up about 9.5%. So that's what I was looking at, LUV. So I don't know if there was news on Delta Airlines that made LUV move up, or if it was the other way around. But what made me avoid LUV was just I didn't really see much of a setup. Like, it just kind of dumped right off the open, and then it was consolidating sideways. There's really not much of a setup for me to get into this unless you're shorting like this candle's low here. So yeah, I just didn't really see much of a trade in these. And then Oracle, let's take a look at Oracle. It looks like N.R. Jackson is saying Delta lowered their guidance after hours yesterday. Okay, so it looks like Delta was the catalyst that moved the rest of the airline stocks. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I was just, you know, a little late to the market, so I didn't see all the stuff that was moving pre-market. And in general, I don't really trade airline stocks too often, to be honest. I just don't. There's not too many clean moves in tickers like Oracle, Delta, LUV, AAL. They're, you know, I tend to find them pretty choppy for the most part. So I'm not really like super excited when I see news on it, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me jump into that, you know. And you know, that kind of goes to what I was saying with LUV when I was looking at LUV this morning. When I noticed it was up 9.5%, I looked at it. It after this first 10-minute candle, it didn't really offer me much of a setup. So maybe I would have traded this. But as you can see, like if I'm shorting down here, I'm not gonna give this thing like a, you know, like a $2.50 stop, which, you know, I'd have to give it a pretty good stop here, at least $2. And yeah, I mean, it's possible you can get that 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 risk on reward. But again, I just don't see, like, this is not like a pattern that I want to like dive into head first, you know. So hopefully that answers your question. DL probably like this sort of pattern a little bit better, where you got more compact candlesticks, so you can kind of see the price action, maybe draw a trend line. You could have used a trend line here on, you know, DAL, like something like this. Maybe short the break of this trend line, either stop over. Yeah, I mean, this could have worked. DAL. AAL definitely could have worked. Like, you know, you had these two bottoming wicks on the 10-minute chart, and then this candle pretty much invalidates all of this. Just smokes these buyers out. And yeah, you could definitely short here. But again, you have to leave a pretty large stop, so you just got to make sure that these things are going to move, you know, at least twice your stop, right? So so yeah, maybe you know, maybe I was actually looking at AAL this morning after I saw LUV, and I thought maybe that could be a trade here, but when I saw these first two candles, it just made me want to avoid, you know, touching them, just because I just thought I could see something better. But today, really, honestly, nothing has been that great, at least for me. Nothing's really been that clear. Like, you know, I had one loser on coin, shorting that, which looks like now it's rejected near the high of day 190. And then I had a break-even trades on Apple and PDD short, which look like now they have worked, although they have not reached my original target to the downside, but they definitely would have worked. And then I think I had a small loser on Tesla, shorting that, which I flipped over. I flipped over to being long on Tesla near the 225 area. So let's see if this is a temporary bounce here and we continue to go sideways, or if we're gonna make a relief rally, which I know everyone's been hoping for, especially people that are investing for the long run. I mean, people that people that are investing for the long run, maybe looking to retire soon. Kind of feel bad for those people, as the market's taken quite a big hit here over the last 3 months, especially the Mag 7. So I know everyone out there is looking for a relief bounce. Of course, as day traders, we don't mind either way, but it's nice to see the market go up for everyone. Alright, so still looking into things here. My music has been pausing and going out because I'm adjusting a few things here. Trying to get back in the swing of streaming again. So figuring some of those little things out. Looking at SMCI. SMCI has sort of made a nice move back up on SMCI. Show you guys what I'm talking about here. SMCI. This is a nice setup. Nice setup here. Move up, move down. The green line is the 20 EMA. 20 EMA is the green line. You got the 50, sorry, not the EMA, it is the simple moving average. Simple moving average is the green line. And then I use all simple moving averages, so you got the green is the 20 SMA, the 50 period SMA is in orange. That's the orange is the 50 period SMA. And we have the red. The red one is the 200 period simple moving average. 200 SMA. So I got 200, 50, and 20. And I don't really base my trades off of them or anything, but they kind of serve as a nice guide. A lot of times you'll see price curl off some of these lines and gives you some added conviction. Like in this case, in the case of SMCI, you had a clean bounce. The 20 SMA is holding the price, and then you got to move over VWAP. You know, I've definitely taken long setups like this, especially if you can get a trend line going like this, break of that trend line, and you got to move up. So, all right, Tesla's working out nicely here from our long at 225. Of course, this is the real test for Tesla if it's gonna actually hold above the VWAP, right? We really need the price to hold this area because, of course, if it doesn't, we're gonna have a move back down. So, or, you know, maybe not a move down, but we're just gonna chop around, right? Like I mentioned, the previous day's close is that line that you see at 228.18. And then you got the line over there, which is at 217 on Tesla, and that's corresponds to the after hours low from yesterday on Tesla. So this is a good setup that I like on Tesla, is where it's just bouncing off the previous day's close, the previous day's low, the after hours low, and you've had such a large dump on Tesla, right? So and we are getting a nice move in our favor. SMCI also working out nicely. NR Jackson is saying, no, nothing great today. HSAI scalps ended up being my best name, and it's not really a name I'd normally trade. SMCI holding decent considering they have 2 offerings filed recently. Yeah, good old SMCI and all their financial shenanigans. That's, you know, it's been fun to trade SMCI. I remember trading it when it was like, what, 800 a share? Something like that. I remember shorting it on those days where it was, of course, they've adjusted, so split adjusted, so now the price is much more reasonable. But I remember those days when SMCI was just going through that creative accounting debacle that they had. I'm not sure what's happened of that. I'm assuming they're still going through all that stuff, but wow, look at this move, guys. Boy, did I read coin wrong. Holy cow, did I get that wrong on coin. all I had to do was go long. Trading is so easy. All I had to do was get long. Why even bother shorting? Why bother shorting when the market's going down and everything's dumping? Why even bother? But hey, at least we got caught one. At least we caught one with Tesla. And with Tesla, I'm probably going to move my stop to break even pretty soon. I've already moved it up to probably low of this current candle. It's probably where I'll probably move my stop. I mean, makes sense to do that, right? If it's going to wipe out this candle, then how is it going to make a move higher? And of course, when I say that, the market shows me how. By wiping out that candle and then moving higher. That's how you do it. I usually don't move my stop actually to break even this quickly. I like to let the trade go in my favor by a fairly good amount before I'm going to move my stop up higher. Because, you know, things happen. Price fluctuates, and if I try to be, you know, super accurate, like laser pointer accurate, or whatever you call it, laser precision, then those are the times where I get really chopped up, where I'm in a trade out, in, out, in, out, and you know, those days are not fun. Those days are not fun, and those days are not profitable. So, sort of learn to get into trades, put my stop in, and then kind of let things work, and then gradually move my stop up as the trade goes in my favor. That, at least that's been my strategy as of late, and it's been working out better for me. So we're gonna stick to that, stick to what's working, and yeah. So what happened with PDD? Let's see, PDD, what happened? Ooh, okay. So this is what I mean right here. Like, you know, we shorted PDD this morning around the 117 area. And it went in our favor immediately. Stopped out because I didn't like this bottoming wick. And if I had stayed in the trade, stayed in the PDD short, it would have went, this is roughly 1 hour from my stop. But now you got this one candle that's just like wiping out all the gains, right? And that's why, you know, I'm okay with when the market's telling me that, hey, this may not be a short. I'm okay with getting out early and moving my stop to break even super early, like I did with PDD. I don't always do that, but when I see something like this, it's kind of like a tell. At least for me, it's a tell that, you know, we got a lot of buyers here, and you know, this thing's not going down without a fight. So, and I'm not trying to fight it, right? I don't want to try to fight things. That's a recipe for failure. Trying to fight the market. So, don't do that. Of course, I still do that sometimes because it's hard not to. But you try your best to take these tells, so to speak, from the market and get out. So yeah, this trade on PDD, the trade on PDD here, you know, it would have worked to get 1 hour, but then this one candle sort of erases a lot of those gains, and then now you're back to like break even-ish pretty soon. And then, so it's, my point is that it's not worth it, you know, like, even though you could have got the move, it's just like the choppiness of it just takes away too much mental capital, and you know, you just don't get those sustained moves. But of course that may be just because of the type of day today is. The type of day today is meaning sort of a range-bound inside day in the market. And, you know, I talked about that, you know, when I started the stream in the morning when the market opened that I might have an inside day today where I'm not expecting 2R, 3R, 4R type of follow-up moves. So, you know, if I'm not expecting that, then I also need to have, you know, move my stops up once things go my way. That way I don't get, you know, continue to have losing trades as the market is basically going nowhere, right? Going sideways and just knocking me around like a pinball. Man, I hope I'm not getting sick. Gosh. Woke up this morning and felt like I had a cold. Hope I'm not getting sick. That's not going to be fun. NR Jackson saying PDD, they have earnings next week. Probably just some shuffle until then. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Man, this NR Jackson guy really does his research. Man, he knows his stuff. Yeah, making me look bad over here. I don't know about the airline news. I don't know what's going on with PDD. What is happening? This guy, he's on top of it. NR Jackson, good for you, man. Good for you for knowing all this stuff. I definitely should keep track of that as well. And I usually have like the information here on the chart that'll show me when there's a potential earnings. So why don't I have that on my chart? Should be there. Maybe I disabled it. Corporate actions, I think it's corporate actions. They're not showing up on Thinkorswim. Let's see, corporate actions. Is that what it is? Let me look into that here. Yeah, something like that. There's a way to show earnings dates on the chart. Yeah. I think I figured it out here. How to show that. So let's do this. Let's move this to 15 minute, move it back to daily. Boom, there it is. Earnings 3:20 before market central time. 3:20. Yeah, that's right. That's going to be on Thursday. So PDD with earnings on 3:20 Thursday. That is before market, so it's going to be Thursday morning. So thanks to NR Jackson for pointing that out. And you know, his point being that probably some shuffle until the earnings come out for the clear move. That totally makes sense. We definitely see that happen a lot, where right before earnings come, the stock just kind of tightens up, gets very range bound, and as people don't know, as investors don't know what to do, right? They don't know whether they should hold on to it or add or sell. Everyone's weary of what's going to happen on, you know, earnings release day. And when the news does come out, it's like, boom. If it's really bad, everyone panic sells. Or if it's really good, then you got all these people FOMOing in to buy. So it makes sense where if there's a earnings day coming up, you know, you're not going to have much of a move either direction, you know, a week or so prior to earnings being released. So that's definitely a good point. But PDD has been offering some pretty good moves lately, if you can see over the last couple of weeks. Man, I remember trading this thing when it was near the highs, 125, 130s, and then I remember shorting it on that first big red day around here, and then we had this big gap up that got sold off. That would have been really nice. I don't know if I traded it on this day, but Yeah, it's offered some good range, PDD. Look at the size of these bars tells you, like, these are some good day trading opportunities when you see these candlesticks that, you know, especially these, like, they're moving straight up, open, straight up, close, open, close, open, close. If you traded on these days, these candlestick days, you probably did really well, right? Because it probably offered really clean trends on those days. And then of course these doji days are the ones where doji days are the ones where somebody like me would get chopped up, or if you have a similar trading style to me. Alright, so right now only one trade on for me is going to be the Tesla long. If you guys in the chat are trading anything, let me know what you guys are into, or if you guys see anything that might be good to jump into. Right now, don't see much. Alright, so the SPY has sort of made a pretty big bounce here, and it's gotten so far rejected at that opening range low for the SPY. Right below that 559. So it'll be interesting to see here if this is a rejection at the VWAP for the SPY, or do we see a continued push up over the 559 and we get into 516 above. NR Jackson is saying day trades are over for me after 11 unless there's a breaking news trade like Lunar last week. We swing in Unity down here in the low 20s. Huge move down after they crushed earnings. 31. Wow, that's cool, man. That is awesome. Let's check that out. What you're saying here. Ooh, I wonder where Smicky might be a short up here. Smicky. Ooh, this is a nice. This is very nice here. Triple top, double top today. Interesting. Interesting, Schmicky. Let's see. I do want to check out what NR Jackson was saying for Unity software. So he's swinging that one from the low 20s. Boom. Huge move after they crushed their earnings. Yep, this was it. Yeah, man, that's a nice trade. That's an awesome trade right there, going from 20 all the way to 31 here, and of course back down. That's a heck of a trade, man. Good job. And yeah, I mean, trading after 11 a.m. market time, that was roughly about 25 minutes ago. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually in the Pacific time zone. I'm in California, so it's only 8:24 where I'm at, 8:25. But yeah, I mean, I think if you are scalping, then and I used to do that, where I used to only trade the first couple hours of the day, and that really makes sense because you get the most volume in the first couple hours of the day. You get cleaner moves, relatively speaking, to like afternoon times. And also you can kind of get in early on days where, trend days, where the trend starts early and then you don't really get much of a pullback. Or if you're shorting, you don't get much of a pop back once after the first couple of hours. So yeah, it totally makes sense. And I think for me too, that might be true, where I think most of my trades are done, I would say, before 11 a.m. market time. Well, maybe not done. I shouldn't say the trades are done for me. I would say that most of my entries are, take place before 11 market time. But then, of course, I would sort of describe myself as a intraday swing trader. So I tend to try to ride the trend, try to take out a bigger move out of trades that I enter, especially since I'm trading on a higher time frame, higher compared to like scalpers who trade on a 1 minute time frame. For example, I am using 10 minute time frame candle, so each candle is 10 minutes. So but yeah, I think it's true for probably a lot of traders where they probably should be done by 11, because if you're still trading past 11, at least speaking from personal experience, it's been because I'm red on the day and I'm trying to get even, and I'm out here still hunting because I haven't caught anything yet, right? So you're here into the afternoon hours, lunchtime, and you're this is speaking from personal experience. I've done this, where if I get chopped up in the morning, I'm still here, still trading 11, 12, 1 market time, and I'm trying to, get my money back from the market. And of course, most of those days, it just makes it worse. So it makes sense that for NR Jackson, he's saying that he's no more. The day trades are over for him after 11, and that's probably good advice for most people, I would say. And like I said, for me also, I take a lot of my entries, and then I end up being in trades maybe for the whole day or sometimes several hours. But I'm just sort of like managing the trade, so I'm not looking for new entries, but I'm already in trades where I'm like adjusting my stops. Like Tesla, for example, I'm long Tesla here, 225 area, and this might be a trade that lasts 2 hours. I don't know. So, I'm certainly not going to get out of the trade because it's 11 a.m. I'm going to stay in the trade until, my stops hit or I hit my targets. So, but I think what NR Jackson is saying is that, he also said if you're in the money, nothing wrong with staying in until 1 on a bigger name, until 1 p.m. on a bigger name, like Tesla, for example, he's saying. And then he agrees with the entries. Yeah, entries. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own different trading styles, and like I know some people only trade like the first 30-45 minutes because they're trading 1 minute can. And I did that actually for a long time, where I would only trade the first 30 minutes or 45 minutes off the open and just scalp, 50-cent moves, 20-cent moves. And it works. It certainly works for whoever wants to sort of incorporate that style of trading, because it makes sense, since all the volume and a lot of the big moves happen early on. But for my style of trading, it is more of a slower pace, as you guys can tell. Like, I've been in this Tesla trade now since like 10:50, and now it's almost an hour later. It's 11:30, so 40 minutes into this trade, and I haven't taken an exit or stop. So it's definitely it depends on your style of trading. But in general, yeah, I mean, even with trading this style, like yesterday when I was trading, for example, what did I trade yesterday? I think I posted on Twitter the tickers I traded yesterday. I think I traded well, I don't remember, but maybe I can look it up and see. What did I post yesterday? Let's see, what did I trade yesterday? Go to my profile, Baba. Yeah, Baba and Coin. If you look at those, I was done exactly at 11. Would you look at that? Yeah, I started in short early, I think before 10, and then I closed up my trades by 10:30, 11. And I think like a lot of my good days, I'm probably done by 11 a.m. When the trend is so clear, when the moves are so good early, and you're capturing 2, 3, 4R, there really isn't a need for you to stick around all day, right? I mean, Baba ended up going much lower. Tesla, well, actually, what else did I trade here? Looks like Baba. Coin also ended up going much lower, but only after it went up almost close to my entry. So, if you're willing to sit through that kind of drawdown that goes against you in the trade, then fine. But for me, if I have a great day, and if yesterday was a very good day for me, I think I made almost 8R. So when I have a day like that, I'm okay with closing up shop early at 11:30 and then calling it a day, and running some errands and doing other stuff. So totally cool with that. So let's see, Tesla. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, with Tesla, when I long Tesla near that 225 zone, my idea was that it would break over the VWAP and it would hold VWAP. So right now it's done that. So it's done what we would have hoped it would do, and now we're approaching an area that potentially I want to take some targets. My ideal targets are up a little higher, like I would say in the 240s is where, or even like 245, because I tend to give it a little bit wider stop, so I want a bigger move out of it. But I don't get to decide where stocks go or how high they go. I don't get to decide that, unfortunately. But let's look at it here. Clean chart here without any of the drawings, and kind of like to do this so I can see like some of the nuances on the chart. Just looking at the price, and you can see here pretty clearly, big move yesterday, big down day yesterday, sold off after hours, and then it picked up yesterday after hours, or looks like the evening session, and then little bump pre-market, and then selling off pre-market here, and then we had this big wick down into the 216s, 217s area, coincided with this low from the pre-market. So we didn't drop down towards 210. So yeah, this this is looking nice for a bounce up into this area, 240s, 245. This kind of range is kind of where I would target, but I'll probably take my first piece off here in 235s near the high of day. And my stop is break even now, so this is a risk-free trade. Will not be losing any R's on this one. So this is kind of the nice thing about trading this style that I am trading, is that when the stock does go in my favor initially, I get to take all my risk off the table. And then if it works out, that's gravy. If it doesn't, then, you know, it'll be like PDD and Apple, where it gave us the move, we didn't take any off, and you know, we're just left with a story, but no profits. So yeah, NR Jackson saying Tesla nice. Tiny catalyst with Trump announcing his support for Elon and buying a Tesla today. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on Twitter. Elon had reposted Donald Trump's tweet that, you know, basically that everyone's attacking Elon, the Democrats and the leftists, and you know, sort of like a political attack on Elon and his companies with, you know, the fires that people are setting on to those cyber trucks. I saw that on the news a couple days ago. I think it happened several times. If I recall, there was like several times where people vandalized Tesla Cybertrucks or set them on fire even, and that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible that happens. You know, regardless of your political affiliation, I think, you know, like those types of acts just kind of make everyone look bad. That's kind of sad to see. I like Tesla. I have a Tesla. Yeah, I've had a Tesla, many Teslas since 2018. I'm a big fan of Tesla. And yes, I wish I would have bought the Tesla stock in 2018 versus buying the Tesla itself, because could have bought about 10 Teslas with what the profit I would have made. So, yeah. What a dumb move that was, right? Not buying the Tesla stock. I think it was like $180 when in 2018 when I bought the first Model 3. Tesla stock was $180 or 167, something like that. That was almost 7 years ago. Yeah, that hurts. Think about, so I'm not gonna think about it. But yeah, that's Tesla definitely has that little catalyst with Trump announcing. But you know, Tesla, I trade Tesla a lot. Like I would say almost like every week for sure, and maybe even almost every day. It just tends to have really good moves, really clean moves. There's a lot of volume. And there's always some sort of catalyst or another, right? So, the Tesla, I feel like is always on my radar for any sort of trade, you know, up or down. So, right now it ain't doing much, and SPY is rejecting now the 20 SMA and the VWAP area, so it couldn't really make it up over that, you know. And then SMCI is rejecting. This is like we talked about. It's like a quadruple top or something. So many tops for SMCI, so that might be a potential short for me for SMCI. Let's give it a couple minutes. It is fairly strong today, up 7%. So that's kind of like, do I want to short something that's up? But yeah, I mean, it's definitely got that resistance in the $40 area. That it has. This is definitely like a triple, quadruple top now into that area. So. let's see what happens. This is cool. This is kind of fun, streaming live and chatting. Maybe I'll continue to do this, keep this up. I was doing it months back, and kind of got busy with trading and some other stuff. But it's fun. It's fun to do this stuff. Alright, so we're seeing a bit of a move up across the board. Let's put the 10-minute back on Tesla, NVDA. So, you know, SMCI, I talked about, you know, potentially shorting this one, but, you know, what makes me not want to do it is how strong it is on the day today, up almost 8%. And also, just like it really is not, it's above VWAP. Not really showing any weakness. So, you know, yeah, it's a quadruple top, it's a triple top, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, is that enough? Is that enough to short? And I don't think it is. So, it's not enough. We need more. Tesla continuing to go higher. That's good. That's good. It's hitting this 200 SMA now, so I have to ask myself if I do want to take some off. I'm up roughly 1R on the Tesla trade here. My stop now is going to be moved up on Tesla to where I'll have a small profit on the trade if it stops me out. So it's going to be, my stop is above my entry. So we're locking a little bit of a gain there on Tesla if it does decide to turn around, but hopefully we continue higher. Hopefully we continue higher. SPY is continuing higher. And I'm looking, you know, I'm looking into other things right now. I have other monitors that I'm looking at. Amazon looks nice. Amazon looks like a nice. Let's put Amazon here instead of look at this setup on Amazon. I've been sleeping on this one. This is nice. I like this pattern on Amazon. ABCD-ish. Had the big move up, move down, sideways, and then slowly curling back up. And this is indicative of the ABCD pattern. A B C D. So let's look at like what has been going on with Amazon. Yep. Pretty big downtrend here on Amazon. Weekday yesterday, then a move up today. Interesting. Don't know if there's a trade for me on it now, especially on a day like today where we're having basically a flat day here on the SPY. Definitely shaping up to be a doji type of day, inside day like we see here on the SPY. Definitely shaping up to be one of these handles that are tough to trade. You want to trade on days like this where you get this clean move, clear these drawings out. And these are the days you really want to put in the day trades. Days like this, especially this day. This day probably caught people off guard. But this day, or easier. Of course, you know, you're probably asking, how do you know if it's going to be this day versus this day? Because right now it's 11:44 a.m. Eastern time, and we don't really know what this day. This is the SPY daily chart. We don't really know what this is going to look like. Right now, it looks like a doji. It's a doji right now, but we don't know if it's going to end up closing here. It's going to look like this day, or if it's going to close down and look like maybe this day, or something like this. It's just, you know, we don't know. So, using incomplete information, we're trying to make some educated guesses using incomplete information. That's the name of the game for day trading. Tesla rejecting off the 200 SMA so far, and of course it does have this resistance kind of area getting into here where it should have a sell-off, and the pre-market high was like 233, so very close to that. So probably gonna take a little piece off of here. Let me mark off the areas right here you kind of want to get out. Maybe I'll take a little bit off here. Took a small exit on Tesla long from the 225 area, and yeah, took a piece off on Tesla. The rest on Tesla is going to be just, my stop is going to be just under the VWAP, so that's going to put us that is going to put us at a small profit on the rest of the size if we do stop out. Alright, so took off a piece of Tesla, and then let's put in some stops here and some exit targets. I use Dash Trader, so I like to put in some range orders for where I want my stops to be versus, you know, my profit target. So I'll probably do a stop at 227, and then take some off near the highs. And then maybe 240s for more of it. So let's put that in as well. All right, so got the range orders in place. So now if Tesla moves in our direction, we take profit. And if it moves against our direction, we still take profit. So this is kind of a nice place to be as a day trader, where either way you win. Of course you win, you know, we make more money if things go our way, but nice to be in a position where you're already in a winning trade, and you know, you just sort of have no risk. You have no risk on, which is nice. You just have the potential to make more money. Okay, so let's put SPY back on the 10-minute. And I'm just continually scanning to see if there's any other setups, but like we talked about with NR Jackson, after 11 a.m., it is harder to find trades. It is harder to get clean follow through, and sometimes the range has already been put in. So definitely have to keep that in mind. Ooh, I see something on love, LUV. Show you guys what I mean here. I like this move here. You got a down move, spike up and through VWAP, and a wick. This is something that interests me as far as a short goes, because I can see this thing moving back towards the low of the day. So, and you got pretty good volume here too. Let's move up. Not the greatest of setups here. Not the greatest, because it is still up 9%. All right. Interjection's saying something about LUV. Let's see. And I gotta get my mic fixed up. It's like keeps moving on me here. Keeps swinging around. Going like that. Okay. Hopefully this is a good position. Keep moving my mic, but let's see. LUV to introduce NR Jackson saying LUV to introduce a new basic fare on its lowest price tickets purchased on or after May 28, 2025 in advance of offering assigned seating and extra legroom options. Wow, interesting. So that must be the news spike that moved this up. And then of course the contradictory headlines on it on it this morning. NR Jackson saying, yeah, that's interesting, man. I'm curious, NR Jackson, where do you get your news and headlines from? Do you look at Twitter, or you have a place where you get your news? Out of curiosity. If this was a news-related spike here just now at 11:40 on this candle, then I kind of like a short even better, because a lot of times news-related spikes tend to get reversed where they started. So Okay, NR Jackson saying contradictory headlines on it this morning, and then he said news was from from the morning, nothing in the afternoon. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then I guess less of a reason for it to be like a spike up and then fall back down, since the news is from the morning and nothing recent that just came out on it. So yeah, thanks for the heads up on that, NR Jackson. That's helpful to know. I still like this as a short setup where you've got, you know, the stock that's gapped up, sold off pretty hard, curled up into VWAP, but is showing a pretty big topping tail here. I still like it as a short, but again, like, you know, like, what is a win rate on something like this? Probably not that great, because a lot of times you'll just have things that curl up like this that are up, you know, 9.2% or whatever it's up right now, 9.3%, and it's just gonna either go sideways or kind of float up. So if I'm gonna short this thing, I need this thing to go down, like to like 29.50, 29, 28.50. How realistic is that gonna happen, you know? Well, the only thing that's really helping me, that will work in my favor, is that the overall market has been down so much the last few months, but today the SPY is about even. We're having like a doji type of inside day, so then that doesn't go in my favor. So if you factor in all those things, it kind of makes me want to just you know, stay on the sidelines like I am now, except I'm still long Tesla. Still long Tesla, and I need it to hold the 227 area. Otherwise, I'm going to be out of that long. Hopefully, we get some continued continuation on Tesla. But yeah, interesting to see if we get any real setups here. Tesla, it is, you know, rejecting the 200 SMA on my 10-minute chart, so not a good sign. But we are over the VWAP, so that's a good sign. So we got our stops in place, and we'll see what happens. Kale Thompson is in the chat saying, just got in. What stock are we looking at? Kale, we are looking at LUV. We were just talking about that with that wick going up into the 31 area. I was thinking about potentially a short on that. And you know, we're just talking about what's going on there. And then I'm in the Tesla long right now that I got in around 225. We took some profit on Tesla already near the 232 area is where I exited some on the previous candle to this one that's going on right now. We got about 2 minutes left to close on the current candle, and my stop is below the VWAP, so probably the moving averages are going to be my stop there. I've already got a stop in place, so kind of wait and see approach here, you know, as we head into the lunch hour where things are definitely going to slow down. But you know, I am keeping an eye on LUV here. SPY now, pretty big move here to the downside. It is below the VWAP, and you know, love, what's love doing? Is love going to go lower? Do we see a move going back down to 29? The low of the day is 29.60s. I'm pretty tempted to short this love here. I think yeah, let's do it. I'm short love. Short LUV. Stop is going to be over the wick. Over the previous candle's wick, so 31.17s. AMD also moving down. So what kind of pushed me over the edge for the love short is SPY. SPY moving down, pushing down, kind of helps my decision making here, because if we get a continued move lower on SPY, I think it's just going to drag everything lower, and especially if you get a new low in the SPY, then we're definitely going to hit our targets for love. My targets for love would be closer to the low of the day. Let's see, what else do we got? NVDA also moving down. Schmicky that we were looking at, SMCI. I've been talking about shorting that one now for 20 minutes. Do I want to short this one? The daily chart on Schmicky going sideways for the past week. So not that exciting to short. And of course today being up almost 7%. All right, love. Let's see if love is going to go lower. Well, what are the other airlines doing? Let's see what Dow is doing. Dow's, let's pull it up on the chart. Let's see what's happening. More. All right, so love proving to me that it's not a great idea to short stocks that are up 9%. And it's just ripping higher. And our stop on Tesla also just triggered, so we are out of the Tesla long, so we're locking in a small gain on Tesla there. And love is bouncing pretty strong. LUV, Southwest Airlines, off the VWAP there again. And, got my stop in place there over those wick highs. And if we make it over, we're going to be out with a losing trade on LUV. And it'll be interesting learning to gain from this short, because I talked about kind of both sides of why I like the love short, LUV. As far as the candlestick pattern goes, why I like that short. But then I also talked about why it's maybe not such a great short because of it being up so much for the day and the catalyst behind it. And, also LUV just is not the type of stock that has a large ATR, so it's not going to make those big moves like a Tesla, Meta, NVIDIA. So there's a high chance that it kind of goes nowhere from here. So, NR Jackson is saying SPY and QQQ controlling 90% of the names, and yeah, that's I would definitely agree with that. As I use it as a sort of a barometer of, where stocks are headed, where things are moving. And I think probably a lot of day traders, especially day traders that trade large caps, are definitely looking at the SPY or QQQ and kind of basing their trades off of, what direction they think SPY is going to go, or which way it's going to drag. The index is going to drag the individual stocks, right? But then, it's funny because I've heard some traders say or argue that, is the index dragging the stock down, or is the stocks dragging the index down? Right, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is the stock making a lower move, which is causing the SPY to go down? Or is SPY going down and that's causing the stock to move lower? Interesting to think about. Interesting to think about what, like who's controlling who. Of course, we all know that, we all should know that the SPY and QQQ are ETFs, and they are comprised of individual stocks, SPY, of course, being the S&P 500, made up of the top 500 companies in the S&P 500. So, if those stocks all make a move lower, then collectively, then that's SPY reflects that. SPY is a reflection of those 500 companies. So, of course, not every stock that you trade are going to be included in SPY. I'm not sure if Love is in SPY or not. I don't know. What stocks are in? I don't know. Let's see. What tickers make up? Well, we know the top 10 holdings of SPY. I'm looking at it now. We got Apple, NVDA, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, BRK-B, Broadcom, ABGO, Google, and Tesla. Those are the top 10 holdings, almost 35% of total assets. So yeah, I mean, if if these 10 stocks are moving lower, which looks like they are today. Apple down 3%. Amazon's flat. Tesla up actually today 2%. But yeah, so it's kind of it's representing the 500 stocks, but of course the top 10 are going to carry more weight, which is stocks that are like the FANG or the Magnificent 7 are going to carry more weight, the Mag 7. So I'm still trying to find out what is I want to know all the tickers in the SPY. Where do we find that out? View holdings. Yeah. Maybe I should just ask ChatGPT. Or actually, I've been using Grok lately. Grok. So is LUV stock part of SPY? Let's ask our buddy Grok. Grok knows everything, right? Okay. So here we go. Yes, Southwest, ticker LUV, Southwest Airlines Company, is part of the Spider 500, the SPY ETF. So there you have it, folks. And NR Jackson saying love is number 387 in 500. Man, this guy knows everything. NR Jackson knows everything. He is the human Grok. He knows all the news. Yeah, so LUV is included among the holdings in SPY. Approximately 5.14 million shares held by the ETF. Though the exact number can fluctuate slightly. So, Love is a constituent of that index and indeed part of the SPY's portfolio. So if the SPY is going down, which it is now, then our trade is going to work out beautifully. And right now, I kind of like it. Right now, I like it. It's got the double wicks at the top on the 10-minute time frame. And for me, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Of course, we have about 5 seconds left to close in this candle. Let's see what happens. And, you know, like, I'm kind of putting a lot of importance, or talking a lot about the shape of the candlesticks and the wicks. Like, I'm talking a lot about that. But, you know, I think all really good traders know that, like, that's not the most important thing, right? The shape of the candlesticks or the wicks or like the pattern, that's not the most important thing. Because, you know, like, we got a new candle starting right now, new 10-minute candle just starting, and it's moving lower. But one candlestick could rip this all the way to 31.25, right? So even though the last couple of candlesticks look good for a short, you kind of want to take a look at the overall structure of the chart for today and take into account all the factors. Because, you know, if you're looking at just the wicks and you're like, oh yeah, it's a topping tail, and you get short, like, you could easily get ripped the other way and, you know, stop you out and then maybe continue lower. Who knows? But I guess the point I'm trying to make is, like, you know, in the past I've gotten into trouble where I just look at the shape of, like, the candlesticks and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a upside down hammer, you know, near resistance, or that's a, you know, like, double top, like we talked about on SMCI, and then I'll just jump into it. Hey, it's a double top, that means it's got to be a short, right? Or two wicks at the top, it's got to be a short. And obviously we know that it's not that simple. It's not that easy. You have to take into account the context, have to take into account the news, have to take into account, like, you know, where people are positioned in the ticker. Like, are they, you know, heavily short on the short side, heavily on the long side, like, you know, where the distribution is of all the players, and, you know, all that stuff that I'm not good at. All the stuff that you know, I'm not very good at. A lot of traders are. But, you know, those things play a bigger factor than just the shape of the candlestick. Like I said, this one candle right now could just rip straight up through 31.25 and go, you know, the rest of the day we trend higher. So, you know, that would indicate that I'm putting too much weight into just like shapes of a couple candlesticks, you know, which is another thing, right? It's like, I'm kind of basing this trade on like two candlesticks, really, like the one I entered on and then the one before that. Like, this candlestick is really, like, if we zoom in a little bit, kind of hard to see when it's like, but maybe this is easier to see. So like this candlestick, I'm putting a lot of weight on this one right now, but, and then I like this one. I like this one that closed red is good, and then this candlestick is also very good, right? It left the sellers came in and just pushed the buyers back below. This is good. So it's kind of holding below VWAP. This is great. But like I mentioned, looking at the whole picture right here, we have a move down, but then we didn't sell off here. For this 1 hour, we didn't sell off. Moved a bit lower, but then the buyers came in very strong here and bought this back up, pushed over 30, and these buyers, you know, made a big push here. So I need to take all that into account, not just, hey, look, this is a topping tail candle and we go short. But what about all this, right? What about this consolidation? What about these buyers? Like, are these buyers gone? All of a sudden, they're just going to let it fall? These people that bought here? Like, I don't know. And so that's why this is not like, definitely not an A plus setup. Definitely, maybe not even an A setup. This might be like a B at best. So again, the only thing that really makes it a good setup in my mind, fits my criteria for a short, is this, where the SPY is going down. So, you know, if this was not looking like this, then I probably wouldn't even touch this. But, you know, and R. Jackson saying, yeah, I'd maybe cut break even and look for something with more range, but that's why I stop at 1. That's why I stop at 11. Yeah, that's a good point, brother. Yeah, stopping at 11, like we talked about earlier, it's probably a good idea for the most part. Patience is much harder. Yeah, especially with my style, like it does require patience. Where I'm, you know, a lot of times I'm going to trade for hours, so it definitely requires patience on my part. So I'm kind of used to letting things work. Man, this Apple really worked out nicely. Wish I was still short in it. Bummer. But yeah. Yeah, so yeah, patience is much harder in the afternoon, says NR Jackson. And the SPY might actually trend back down or rip on a random headline. I'm so bad at it. Yeah, I mean, that is true, man. You know, especially lately, SPY's just been, you know, with all the tariff news and Trump talking and all this stuff going on. You know, Russian news, Ukraine stuff going on. It can definitely rip one way or the other. And then at that point, the shape of the candlesticks don't matter. You know, nothing matters because it's about the context. Like right now, what I just talked about earlier is kind of happening on Love, where we're getting that big green candlestick. The volume is lower on the past few candlesticks. The highest volume was on that big upper wick candle that wicked up to like this one. This had the highest volume here. On my Dash Trader, it's showing 1.6 million shares on this candle. And then lower volume on these. So we got about 3 minutes left for this candle to close, and I am hoping it's not going to really go over 31. If it does, we got problems. But yeah, my stop is above here. My stop is around here somewhere. So I may just let this trade work. I may just let this thing work out. Looking at the daily on this one, you know, it's been in the downtrend, and pretty much every gap has been sold, right? Look at this. Look at these gaps here. Downtrend, gap up, sold off. Gap up, sold off. Gap up, sold off. This one had a big move here. I don't know what. So earnings here. This was on January. And then here, move up, sell off. Move up, sell off. Move up, sell off. So yeah, I mean that is one thing that obviously I was taking into account when I took this short on LEV, is the fact that, you know, this is sort of a gap up sell off, right? I mean, there's people probably in this trade from, you know, up there in 30s, 34, 35, you know, 33, people that are bought all in this range, and they've been suffering here, and they get this awesome opportunity where they get like a 30 or 10% bump, right? And, you know, they have an opportunity to sell at a much lower loss than they were just, you know, a few days ago. So do they take this opportunity to sell, or do they, you know, hang on? That's really what's going to move this ticker, right? So, or any stock. But, you know, this is what I was looking at, and I thought that maybe we do get a move back lower on LUV, and maybe we do close near the lows, 30, and then potentially a gap down tomorrow, or maybe no gap and then move back to 28. I've seen this pattern a lot on the daily chart, so that was another reason why I did take the short on LUV. But things are moving slow as molasses today. So slow. I have a small red day today so far, where pretty much I had one losing trade on coin, where I lost a full R, and then PDD Apple break-even losers, like a couple bucks, and then Tesla I did lose a little bit less than half R on that. Well, actually no. Where was that from? Oh, that was on the short, where I shorted Tesla early on, around 10:30 market time. So we took a little bit of a loss on that one, but then we made that back on the long we took up through 225. So that makes it a wash on Tesla. So really just down about an hour today, which, being down, having a red day, a year ago would have really like triggered me, would have set me off and made me revenge trade. And especially on a day like today, I would have lost the max. I would have had a max loss day for sure if I'm trading 1 minute candlestick charts, because I would have been in and out, and just lose on both directions. So for me, this is progress. This is progress for me to, instead of having a max loss day, I'm looking at potentially just losing 1R, maybe 2R. If this love trade doesn't work out, I lose 2R, and completely reasonable loss, right? Compared to losing like minus 10R. So it's all relative, guys. Everything is relative. Like what your wins and losses are all relative to you. I'm sure other traders out there might be banging out home runs on a day like today, and good for them. That's really cool. But in the end of the day, we're kind of just battling against our own self in this game. So I just try to track how I'm getting better. Getting better at fixing my own mistakes, and hopefully that's going to lead to, NR Jackson, he has a point. He says maybe I'd cut this break even on the love short, look for something with more range, and I might do that. I'm a little bit red on love right now, but the SPY is kind of bounced up and now is showing signs of a double bottom off the 554. And if that happens, then yeah, I should probably take a small loss on love and move on. Because that does change things. Tesla, nice bounce off 227.50. Perhaps this might be a long day, or this might be a time to start looking for longs, but. But this is what happens, right? On days like today, I'm like, I probably sound like I'm contradicting myself, like going long, short. This is what happens on days like today, right? Everything is going sideways, and really there is no direction. And that's why you kind of battle in your own mind. You're like, this is a short. They're like, no, this is long. No, this is a short. And you end up getting chopped up, especially after 11, as NR Jackson says, That's why he avoids trading after 11, for exactly this reason, because you end up, talking yourself into trades or talking yourself out of trades or whatever. It's all like a big mind jumble at this point. So it makes sense for me to cut LUV trade break even, which is where I'm at right now. So I'm fairly tempted to take NR Jackson's advice and just cut this. But then again, my system is basically I like to put in my stops and wait it out, right? And let my system play things out. So if I'm going to lose on a trade, I'm going to lose on it. And if I'm right, then I want to capture on those profits when my system is right. And when it does say, or when it does get me into a profitable trade, I want to be able to capture those profits. Because if I'm constantly second guessing myself and taking myself out of profitable trades, then that system doesn't work, right? Like Apple, for example, right? That Apple trade would have hit 1.5R profit for me. PDD though, also PDD would have hit probably 1.25R, but of course now it's back over my entry. So I don't mind those stop outs at all. Either of the stop outs I don't mind, and if I decide to stop out of LUV here, as NR Jackson suggested, then I think that's good too. Regardless of whether it does end up going down in my favor, I think he's right to point out that there's just not much range in this thing. Like, it's just not going to drop, to 28 or 27 today. It might over the next couple of days, probably will, in fact, but might not happen before it, spikes over 31.20, 31.50, and then it continues lower. And that's where the real trade might be, right? The real short might be a little bit higher. So yeah, I'm definitely contemplating taking this off. If it continues to go sideways here, I'm definitely gonna take this off for just a very tiny loss. I'm down just a few bucks on it right now. And yep, like I said in the beginning of the day, this could be one of those days where it's going to be super choppy, and I have to be aware of that and keep that in mind, and not be afraid to take early stop outs to avoid those big, full R losses. Okay, so we got 4 minutes left on this candle. Here on LUV, but definitely not. This is not what you want to see, right? When you short something and the damn thing is going sideways, this is not what you like. This is not why you're in this game, right? Like, hey, I shorted the stock is going sideways. Perfect. Nobody says that, right? You short, you want the thing to go down, and if it's not going down, why are you in it? And that goes to NR Jackson's point, is that cut the thing off, break even, look for stock with more range. Okay, so we're break even roughly right now, a little green on the LUV short, couple bucks green on it, and I think I'm gonna make the decision in the next couple minutes here whether I want to continue to be short in LUV or we're gonna cut it off. That's it. We got to decide that now. Here, next couple minutes. And I think this, I may just take a break here after this LUV trade, because obviously there's nothing moving. Everything is sideways. And in this type of environment, you're just at the mercy of the market makers and the whipsaws that they're going to happen. So, yep, not much doing here. All right, here we go. We are out of the LUV trade, so we took it off break even. NR Jackson was right. So, Marv XC is asking, how long have you been trading for? Well, I've been trading for a long time, Marv. A very long time. Started trading stocks 15 years ago. Maybe longer. Maybe longer than 15 years. It's been a long time. And then, I was doing other things. I was working, had a business and different things. And then kind of on and off trading for 15 years. But then I really hunkered in 2020, COVID times. So almost 5 years ago now, I really zoned in and I've been trading full time every day, Monday through Friday, for the past 5 years. But I was trading stocks like 15 years ago. I was doing options. Yeah, so I've been around the game for a long time. Not necessarily like continuously, but been around the game a long time. And the past 5 years for sure have really zoned in into the markets to get on with this day trading thing, and definitely have put on a lot of trades in the past 5 years, from everything from small caps, shorting small caps, I even played around with futures a little bit, which are interesting. Futures are interesting. A lot of people say futures markets are not good to trade because there's not a lot of inefficiencies in the market. Like Lance B has said that. But then you see YouTube and there's like all these people trading futures left and right. In fact, there's more futures traders on YouTube than there are stock traders, which I find interesting. I don't know this whole funded futures accounts like Top Step, Apex, and all that stuff. Like, that's something I don't have a lot of experience in. I don't know how all that stuff works, but what I see is like people posting like, I made $300, but then multiply that by 20 accounts. So it's like, I don't know what that means. Like, what the hell does that mean? So are you up $6,000 because you were up 300 over 20 accounts? So, or because they're doing copy trading or something like that, right? So, and then if you were to lose $300, do you also multiply that by 20 accounts and you're down 6,000 on the day? Like, and why not? Why are you doing 20 accounts? Why not just one account and then you're up $6,000 or minus $6,000 a day? Like, I don't understand what the hell is going on with that. But maybe I need to figure that out. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. But I've been trading stocks on and off for 15 years. Individual stocks like Apple, Tesla, all this stuff. And it's funny, I remember trading Apple 15 years ago. Day trading Apple stock. I don't even know what price it was, on $100 or something. And that's crazy. Still have like memories of me. I was using Charles Schwab's. Was it Charles Schwab 15 years ago? Yeah. They had a direct access platform, Charles Schwab, like back in the day, 15 years ago. And it reminds me a lot of DAS Trader now. And that's what they used to use. It was, and I used that platform. It was like direct access. You can route orders through Arca. And it was interesting, man. That actually, it might have been like 20 years. Gosh. Yeah. That was quite a long time ago. But, back then I was just like, didn't really know what I was doing. There was not a lot of resources out there to learn from. There was no YouTube and stuff. It was just like, figuring things out as you go along. And I remember being in a chat room with some people, like some random people I was in a chat room with. And it was like one of those old school chat rooms where, I don't know if those things exist anymore. It wasn't a Discord. It's like an old school chat room. It just scrolls down, you know? The chat just scrolls down, people type. A lot of you young people probably don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, it was like a web-based chat, and yeah, I was in that thing for a while, and you know, there's a couple of guys that were good traders in there, so I was kind of learning from them, but I didn't really do very well, you know, 15-20 years ago in trading, and I kind of like, I said, okay, maybe this is not for me, I'll go try something else, and then you know, when I was in school, I went to graduate school, and I was working, and there's a lot of stuff that I was busy with, so kind of trading didn't make the list. So, but the last 5 years I've been fully focused on it. So hopefully that answered your question, Marv. That's a very long answer. A very long answer, but that is the answer. All right, what's going on here? Marv is saying, yeah, that answered my question, but That's great, brother. I've been following you on X and always see your charts. Don't even know you went live on YouTube. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I used to go live on YouTube a lot. You know, if you look at the history on YouTube, I used to go live a decent amount, and I just kind of stopped because I got busy with other things and trading. You know, it does take, you know, it is a bit of a distraction when you are trading and you're, you know, looking for setups and stuff like that, and then having the chat on or YouTube on and just kind of talking. But in a way, it also helps me because I'm kind of working through my own ideas like out loud, like talking through my ideas out loud. Some people say that might help, and kind of speaking out the reasoning for my trade out loud. And you know, that helps, I think. I mean, it helps me. So that does that's kind of benefit for me to do these live trades, because it's like, okay, cool, like I get to kind of hear myself reason out the trades that I am taking. So yeah, that's why I used to do a lot of live streams, and just kind of I like talking and getting my thoughts out there, and I think it's cool to kind of get some conversation going around trading, especially because like I mentioned, there's not a lot of traders who are just trading large cap stocks on YouTube. I think like 95% of traders on YouTube are trading futures, and there's just not a lot of content around large cap day trading. You know, a lot of it like options. There's a lot of options stuff out there. Which also I don't like. I've traded options. I understand how they work, but yeah, I just prefer to keep it simple and just use shares. I think it's much more precise to manage risk, because I do use like a fixed risk per trade, so I know exactly how much I'm gonna lose on a trade before I enter the trade. Whereas if you're doing options, maybe you can do that, but I'm not really sure if you can get it that granular of an approach to risk management using options. yeah, so I just got back to my desk here. Yeah, so Marv XC saying, yeah, there isn't many on large caps on YouTube. I see some for small caps and futures. I mostly trade large caps and some small cap here and there. Long. Yeah, it's exactly what I was saying. I'm kind of surprised actually, why there isn't more content around day traders that are trading large cap stocks using shares. So the futures thing is cool. I like I talked about, I'm not too familiar with it. I have tried trading futures a few times. I think I used a TradeAway platform. But yeah, I mean, maybe I can see myself transitioning into futures someday, but for now, I think the skills that you can learn day trading large caps will definitely transfer over to trading futures as well. And at some point in the future, I do want to maybe take some time to figure out what's going on with the futures market, because it is the most liquid market in the world. SPX futures and Nasdaq futures. However, I have heard that it is very efficient and very difficult to make money in those markets, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword, I guess. So here we are entering almost to the 1 o'clock mark here in the market time, and I've been kind of scanning on all my monitors to see if I see any setups, but as you guys can tell, nothing really is setting up. Everything is kind of going sideways, and if I'm entering trades, it's just going to be a chop zone. And look at Love. I mean, NR Jackson was right on that, like there's not much range left. I would cut it. I took his advice, That's why I live stream, to get advice from you guys on how to trade. Thanks for that. You guys are helping me out. Yep, and by the way, please give this video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed this stream so far. That would be awesome to try to grow the channel and get more people in here. That would be fun. Chat about stocks all day. Sounds like fun. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna hang out here a little bit longer to see if we get some stuff, but maybe there is no real trades until close to power hour, and then I may jump back on for a little bit. Not, you know, I'll try to stream again every morning for at least a few hours in the morning. You know, 2-3 hours in the morning every day, and maybe longer. Like today was definitely longer. But actually, yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. So I you know, thanks to you guys for you know, hanging on and watching the stream and, you know, chatting. It was cool. You know, it was fun to do this, and hopefully you guys can join me tomorrow. I'll do it at the same time tomorrow. It's gonna be 9:30 a.m. market time. We'll start the stream, and we'll just do the same thing we did today. So probably I'm thinking no more trades from me today, as I just don't see much of a move here happening, unless I'll come back during power hour and see if there's any clean setups or with some potential follow through. So if there is, I'll post about that on Twitter, or maybe jump back on live. But for now, thanks for watching and hanging out, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone.